Starting your own business can be a very profound and exciting moment for many people. But the reason you start the business is because, many persons they have higher hopes, dreams and aspirations. Business is one of those platforms that can really accelerate your possibility to financial independence. But in starting a business, it's very important that you recognize from the get go, even before you start, that there's a right and wrong way to start your business. You need to ask yourself the right questions. And one of those questions you want to ask yourself is, what is the cost of doing business? Today, I will do a high level overview of the cost of doing business. Now, one of the main reasons I'm doing this program today is because I see so many persons, millions of people across the world, many of my clients that I'm interfacing with, they're into business, but they just do not understand the total cost of running that business. And that can create tremendous possibility for stress and discomfort. When you start a business, but you start the business in the right way, you eliminate stress and high blood pressure, you avoid yourself from having sleepless nights, and you create that possibility for joy and excitement because you start on the right platform, you have the right information, the business is set to cash flow maximize, you're happy because your bank account is getting fatter and fatter, and that's the whole objective of getting into business in the first place. So today we will do that high level overview of the cost of running your business. What is the cost of running a business? Now, in starting today's program, there's three important concepts that I want you to take note of, and we will do a deep dive into each of them. Brief, but yet we will do a deep dive into them. The first concept that I want you to take note of as you ask yourself, what is the cost of doing business? I want you to focus on the your financial targets or the cash flow projection. One of the things that we advocate a lot in business is that you need to know your financials. You need to know your figures. If you're in business and you do not understand your financials, you have no place in business. You're guessing, you're speculating, you're guesstimating, and that's not the position of strength that you want to be in. You want to be informed and educated. You want to know that you can take informed and practical steps to achieve the specific objective. In this case, is your financial target. So you need to be clear about this, and I will explain this shortly. The second concept that I want you to look at and take note of is the projected expenses and the total cost of doing business. This, again, is absolutely necessary. There are some people that all you do is the cash flow projection, but the cost to realize the cash flow is absolutely out of the door, out of the window. You do not think about this. And you want to be proactive in business. You want to know that you're thinking ahead, seeing beyond problems, and you are empowered to take informed action to achieve desired. So you need to take that time to understand projected expenses and the total cost of doing business. The last concept that we're going to be looking at today is the cash flow game plan. Now, I want to show you that today's program is going to be exciting because we're going to be looking at a number of unique techniques that you want to consider when you're getting into business. This is top 100 stuff that we're going to be looking at today. All right. Now, what exactly are we saying when we talk about financial targets and cash flow projection? Now, there are so many persons out there that just don't know where to bounce the head that would say to you that there's no need for a business plan, a cash flow projection, your financial projection. I am saying to you, if you are in business and you don't have deep pocket and you're looking to interface with private equity investors to raise capital, you need to have these things prepared. You need to have these things. So, what exactly is the financial targets and the cash flow projection? The financial target is what we're going to call the projected income based on the project activity. So, two things we're looking at here: the projected income based on the project activity. One cannot arrive at a cash flow projection or a financial target unless you're also looking simultaneously at what we're going to call the project activities that you're going to be using to cash flow. So you want to be very, very clear about these things. I'm going to go through a list of 5 steps to really help you to unlock what I'm talking about here in the sense of looking at the projected income based on the project activities. The first thing that you want to do here is to be clear about your financial targets. Know your financial targets. For example, you may want to say that you want to generate $1 million annually. For some, it might be $100 million. But let's be comfortable with the start of $1 million annually. So this is your projection, and you want to be very, very, very clear about this. The second concept that I want you to consider here is the vehicle that you're going to be using to reach that $1 million at the end of the month. And here is where we are looking at the project activity. The vehicle or the project activity can be a business. Could be that you are going to be acquiring a building in real estate. It could be that you're going to be starting a consultancy firm, or it could be that you're going to be starting a car wash. Whatever that vehicle is, you want to be clear about the vehicles that you're going to be using, the business model that you're going to be using to help you achieve the financial target. In my case, I'm going to be talking about a consultancy firm, a management consultancy firm. So here we have a target of $1 million. The business model that we're going to be using to get there is a consultancy firm. So two things is clearly established here, and you want to be extremely clear when you're developing your financial projection, your cash flow game plan, your projected income based on project activities. So you have two concepts there. The third concept that I want you to write down now, because having the projection, knowing the business model is not enough. It's also necessary for you to understand the total number of annual clients that you need to get to that $1 million. In this case, let's say the total number of annual clients that you need is 20. So that's the third thing that you're establishing as you set the stage to develop your financial projection, your cash flow game plan, or your projected income based on project activities. So the fourth concept that I want you to now take note of here is the cost of doing business. So in this case, we're going to call this the annual cost for labor per client. The annual cost for labor per client. So you have 20 clients, but how much do you need to charge the 20 clients to arrive at the $1 million at the end of the year? You need to know this. In this case, the annual cost per labor, or the annual cost for labor per client, is 50 Ks. So that is clear. You're charging 50 Ks. The next step that you're going to look at here is the multiplication factor. So 50 Ks times 20 will equate to $1 million annually. So what I've done, I've given you a simple formula in terms of doing the cash flow projection. But of course, this is not the beginning and the end of the cash flow projection. This is just the beginning. Because in doing the cash flow projection, you also need to take into consideration things like expenditure. What we've just looked at there is the income projection, the projected income based on project activity. So now let's go to the next step. We're going to be looking at projected expenses based on the total cost of doing business. Again, if you're doing business, if you're in business and these things has never crossed your mind, it's perhaps one of the reasons why you're going to fail. It is perhaps one of the reasons why we are seeing 30% to 20% of business start to fail in the first year, 50% fail by year five, and only between 30 to 33% survive after the 10-year life cycle. You don't have the information that you need to have to make informed and educated business decision. If you don't know your projections, if you do not know your expenditures, the possibility exists that the business may be cash flowing. But when you measure your income against your expenditure, at the end of the day, instead of you having a surplus, you have a deficit, which means that you have a negative balance. And that happened because you didn't take the time to get all the information. So now let's do that little deep dive into what we're going to call here the projected expenses based on the total cost of doing business. What are we looking at here? In terms of the expenses to run a business, there's what we call the fixed cost, and there's what we also call the semi-variable cost. And let me give some example of what I'm talking about here. In terms of the cost of running a business, you may have things like rent, utilities, equipment, supplies, insurance policies, salaries, other benefits, and legal counsel, just to name a few. These are costs that you cannot avoid. In developing your LLC, S Corp, or C Corp, you may need a legal counsel. While you're going to have perhaps your CPA or your business consultant set up the business with the Secretary of State, with the IRS, in terms of doing partnership agreements, you may have to seek legal counsel. So this is a cost of doing business, and you need to know this. In the absence of you knowing this, you could be like that person that is going to buy a house and think that all you need to look at is the cost of the house, and you haven't looked at closing fees. You haven't looked at attorney fee. You haven't looked at the appraisal fees. You haven't looked at title search. You haven't looked at none of these things. And guess what? Because you only look at the cost of buying the house and you didn't have the cost to cover these other things, you end up hurting yourself. The same principle applies to business. You need to understand the cost of doing business. There's still additional costs for us to look at. There are some variables like, raw material, advertising, marketing, market research, branding and marketing, vehicle and machinery maintenance, property tax, and the list goes on. Just to give you some idea in terms of the cost of doing business. If you're getting into business and you don't understand this, perhaps you don't have any place being in business because you're going to hurt yourself. And perhaps in the process, you're going to end up hurting so many other persons. And that's the last thing that you want to do. Now, in starting this program, I established three areas that we're going to be covering, and we're going to be doing a deep dive. We talk first about projected income based on cash flow, projected income based on project activities. We talk about projected expenditure based on the total cost of doing business. And we also talked about the cash flow game plan. So I trust that in the first two subject heading, you had enough information at least to whet your appetite of things that you must consider when you're getting into business. Of course, this is a high-level overview. As time progresses, perhaps we may go a little deeper into this to ensure that you get this information. I want to say if this information is useful to you, I want to encourage you to like, subscribe, and share. Press that bell So you will be the first to get these information that we are bringing to you on a regular basis. Today we are looking at the cost of running a business, and you need to know this. I want to emphasize this. Starting a business can be an extremely exciting process. I have been doing business for many years, and it's because of business I was able to resign in my 30s. And there's tremendous joy to that because I get to spend more time with my family. I get to pour into my children and their education. I I'm able to work with them on their leadership skills. It really allows you to free up time. Also, it allows me to think more clearly and more freely about ways in which I can continue to increase my wealth. So, starting a business is a tremendously exciting process, but this is something that you want to get right. You really want to get this right. So we're going to move now to look at cash flow game plan. But just before we look at cash flow game plan on our heading today, what is the cost of running a business? I want to encourage you to take some time out to look at our website, which is pitchdeck101.org. This program comes to you with the kind compliments of pitchdeck101.org and 10x B&M LLC out of New York. Both of these operations are based in the United States of America. So I encourage you to take some time, study the website, pitchdeck101.org, and really get a feel of what we are doing. You may be in business and you need support to grow and scale your business. I want to encourage you to reach out to us. All right. Use the website as you start to navigate the website. You will see our contact numbers, you will see emails. Feel free to reach out to us. Your first consultation with us is always free. All right. So do reach out to us. There's a right and wrong way to start a business, and you want to give yourself all of the necessary advantage that you can give yourself to get it done right the first time. Now, let's look a little bit at the cash flow game plan. We talked so far about the projected income and project activities. We also talk about the expenditure projection, the total cost of income, the total cost of running the business. Now, it is so important to recognize that in looking at the cash flow projection, that the cash flow projection is not enough. The cash flow projection is a projection. And not because you have a projection, it means that you're going to realize the projection that you have developed. Whether that projection is based on critical market data, you have done the market research, you have done the market analysis, you have done the feasibility study, you know it's going to be a viable market. Doing a projection doesn't guarantee that you're going to reach there. Understanding the expenditure, the total cost of doing business, doesn't guarantee that you're going to get there. What guarantees that you're going to achieve the business objective is you developing the cash flow game plan. And the cash flow game plan is a necessary, vital, and unique feature in the business process. And you really need to take the time to ensure that you're factoring all of this into the cost, your cost of running a business. Now, what exactly is the cash flow game plan? And I'm going to take some time to go through this. We're going to look at about four important concepts here today. The cash flow game plan is based on market research. If you can recall a few days ago when I started to talk about the sales communication process, I explained to you what it is. It stands on four important pillars. It stands on market research and market intelligence. It stands on sales processes, communication processes. It also relates to push factors of sales communication, pull factors of sales communication. I'm going to spend some time talking about access to market, which is all about the market research and market intelligence. If you want to cash flow any business, it can only be cash flow against the market realities. And whatever that market reality is, you need to know. In this case, we are talking about a management consultancy based on the examples that I gave above. What is the potential to attract 20 new clients annually to ensure that you're optimizing the potential of that business to cash flow? It's not enough to say that you just want 20 clients. You want to now get market oriented and market sensitive. If you don't have this data, you should ensure that you have a mentor, a coach, that support system and community around you to really help you to make the smartest business decision. The name of this program is Smart Investment Decision. Are you invested in the people that can really help you to make smart investment decisions? So let's get into this. The cash flow game plan is all about your ability to access markets. Now, for you to access markets with the greatest degree of efficiency and the greatest degree of success, you need to understand demographics. You need to understand who you're targeting. So, as a business consultancy firm, you need to understand your target market from three different standpoints. You need to understand your demographics, meaning that you are taking the time to identify your target market. And the demographic data that you're looking at is perhaps their education background, perhaps you're looking at the age groups, perhaps you're looking at race and ethnicity. These things do happen. Perhaps you're looking at lifestyle, culture, and social class. These are demographic data that you're looking at. And if you look back at some of my previous program, you're also looking at the subsector of businesses that you are targeting. These are all important fundamentals to optimize the business potential to cash flow. The cash flow game plan is not a wishful, magical game plan that you're developing. It's a strategic game plan that you're developing based on solid market intelligence. It is this solid market intelligence that will give you the highest chance of succeeding in business. But of course, as we go into this, it is not enough to understand the demographics. It's totally not enough. You need to understand the drivers and the motivators for your client. For example, as a business consultant, you need to understand the subsector of the business that you're targeting and what are their specific motivators, what are their specific drivers. And that is moving from demographics into the psychographics. If you do not understand the psychographic of the target market, you're really not ready to do specific demographic targeting. And if you're not ready to do specific demographic targeting, you're not ready to cash flow your business. This is one of the reasons why you're going to struggle to cash flow, because you think by simply saying that you're targeting women or men or businesses, that's enough in terms of specific demographic targeting. That is just scratching the surface. It is just scratching the surface. You need to take the time to understand the psychographic. And every business, micro, small, medium, primary, secondary, and tertiary, they are all driven by different psychographics. And if you do not know the psychographics, you are building out a weak cash flow game plan. You need to have the right information. You need to understand the psychographics. And that's what puts you in a position of strength. So when you knock on the door, you have a clear mental picture of what are the motivators of the people inside, and they have the highest degree of responding positively to you because you have the information. Again, this is the method, the thesis that we have developed that we call the pull factors of sales communication. Now, there's another step that you need to go as you develop the cash flow game plan. You need to take the time to understand where your consumers can be found. Now, this is not demographic. This is not psychographic. It's a combination of demographic, psychographic, and geographics. You want to know where your ideal clients could be found. And if you don't know where your ideal clients could be found, again, you're going to be hurting yourself in business because you may know the demographic data, you may know the psychographic data, but if you can't reach them with your cash flow game plan, it means you can't cash flow the business. And this happen a whole lot in business. You go there and you get involved in what we call the push factors of sale. And you're trying to push an elephant down someone's throat, and it's practically impossible for it to happen, you know? But if you know exactly where to push that elephant, guess what? You're going to achieve the objective. Perhaps you should push the elephant in a cage, not someone's throat, being comical here. The fact is that the more you understand the demographic data, the psychographic data, the geographic data, is what is going to put you in a position of strength to optimize your cash flow game plan and optimize the business potential to cash flow, optimize the business profitability, and you can smile every time you go to that bank because you're able to deposit more monies into your bank account, and your bank account is getting fatter and fatter and fatter because you're doing business in the right way. All of this represent the cost of doing business. Do you understand the cost of developing the cash flow game plan and how to develop the cash flow game plan? Do you have the right expertise on your side that can really help you to develop that cash flow game plan to make impact the way you want to make impact? Now let's go a step further here. We are now getting warm up. Okay, we are now getting warm up. To successfully run a business, you also have human resource needs, and there's a cost for the human resource. Are you thinking about this? Are you thinking through this entire process, or are you just thinking about the cash flow projection? It's not enough to just focus on the cash flow projection. What is the total cost of doing business? Human resource needs. And as you look at the human resource needs, you need to see your organization chart. And your organization chart is going to represent strategic labor force, tactical labor force, and the operational labor force. There's a cost for all of this. Now, I want to get a little technical here because the right business consultant can make or break you as it relates to the human resource needs. Depending on where you are in the world, the labor market can be very expensive. And you being a business startup, you being new in business, you may not be able to hire the best people because of the high cost of labor. And your inability to attract the brightest, smartest people that can help you to move a process forward may be another factor that is going to slow down the growth of your business, because to manage a business and manage a business successfully, it's not just about having human resources to fill those positions. It's about having the right human forces, the right labor forces to help you move a process forward. So this is what I want to say to you as we get a little technical here. Very often you find companies, the average company, you select your target market. You go through that selection, recruitment, and placement and climatization based on demographic data. You look at the education background of potential employees. You look at age group of potential employees. You look at gender of particular employees, and you make a selection based on that. But what history is showing, what research is showing, is that sometimes when you use a simple approach to the selection, recruitment, and placement, it is not enabling you to get the desired results, because across the world we continue to see that this method has some weaknesses. There are millions of companies that still complain about absenteeism and staff turnover. And absenteeism and staff turnover affects productivity. It affects profitability. It affects the sustainability of that business. So in business, you want to be proactive here too. And to be proactive, it means that you're thinking ahead, seeing beyond problems, and taking informed action to ensure that you're taking the practical steps to remove absenteeism or reduce it significantly, and also remove and reduce staff turnover, which is going to affect your ability to deliver quality consistently to the ideal client. But to effectively achieve this, it's not enough to just look at demographics. Are you doing psychographic analysis to see the right fit of people to your organization? Those that are going to come willing to learn, highly motivated, with the highest degree of commitment and loyalty to your organization. That is all psychographics. It's all psychographics. So to do this particular clinical precision targeting in the human resource, we need to go beyond demographics. Big companies understand this. Top 100 companies understand this. There's a cost for labor shortage. There's a cost for absenteeism. There's a cost for staff turnover. And you want to do everything practically to minimize this. This is a deep subject matter. We're going to get just a little technical here, and I'm going to pull back to some average stuff. But you really want to focus on this, not just the demographics, but the psychographics. You want to understand the value system of the people that you're bringing into your organization. You want to know this. You want to know their culture. And some deep analysis would have to be done here. Human resource needs is not only about the demographic and the psychographics. This may also go into geographic, because from the time you're going to be saying you're taking labor force from the Philippines or from Singapore, because of the fact that they come with a high level of motivation, a high level of commitment, the cost of labor is cheaper. But with all of this, you're able to achieve your business objective. You've gone beyond demographics, you've gone beyond psychographics, and you've gone into demographic selection. You're selecting the human resource from an international platform. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with this. I mean, who is going to say something wrong with this? Well, they can chew on their teeth. Because in business, you're in business to achieve the business objective. While you're in business to achieve the human objective, my advice is achieve the business objective first of all, so you can be the great humanitarian that you want to be. You're giving people time to grow if they're willing to grow. So these are some technical issues that I want you to look at. Do you have the right financial advisors? Do you have the right mentor and coach and support on your side to help you to make smart investment decisions when it comes to growing and scaling your business? So I'm going to stop here on this particular part. I think I've given you enough to chew on. As time progresses, we will continue to unlock this thesis for you. This thesis, of course, is what is being implemented in North America and the developed world to really help businesses to build on strength, to build on wisdom, to build on a platform that can truly accelerate their growth. Business would also need technical resources. This is a cost of doing business. This is a cost of running a business. You need machinery. You need to keep abreast of relevant technological development and adopt relevant technological development to the organization. This is what's going to enable the business to achieve its competitive advantage. Are you aware of this as at a cost? Perhaps as a business startup, you may not be ready for all of this, but I'm saying to you, in your 5 years cash flow projection, your 5 years business strategic plan, these things need to be factored in because the time will come that whatever you're doing at the basic level is going to become obsolete. And when it becomes obsolete, because you do not have the technical resources to accelerate the speed of delivery, the consumer has a choice to go where they're going to get it cheaper, faster, with greater efficiency. Where would you be? Back in the Stone Age. So it's important for you to focus on technical resources that can optimize your business process. The last concept I'm going to cover today, and this is big. Almost every day we interface with businesses that have started, and businesses that underestimate the cost of running a business. So they are to access capital, struggling to access capital. At the beginning of this program, I did say that there's no shortage of capital. There's a concept that we call it dry powder. You have a lot of private equity investors, they have billions and perhaps trillions of dollars sitting in dry powder, wanting the ideal business to invest in. But are you the ideal business? All right. Are you investing with the right advisors, mentors, and coach to ensure that you're fundable? So you become the ideal business to invest in among private equity investors. Now, let me say this: capital resource need is a vital part of doing business. There's a cost for capital. What I want to emphasize here, you need to understand the entire cost of doing a business. This is what makes you prepare. And when you have someone working with you to develop what I'm going to call your financial targets, your financial projection, your cash flow projection, and all of that, your cash flow game plan, it is these documents that is going to enable you to see through the entire process so you could make an informed and educated decision. These documents are not being prepared and proposed to enable you to procrastinate. It is designed to enable you to have clarity in relation to the cost of doing business. The last thing that you want to do is to start a business and recognize that the business costs 10 cents to move, but you only got 2 cents. You only have 5 cents. You want to have the entire picture. This is what enables you to make an informed and educated decision about getting into business. This is what is going to empower you to make smart investment decisions. This is what is going to position you to be successful. Are you thinking about the cost of accessing capital? Let me say this. There's debt instrument, there's credit instruments, there's equity instrument, financial instruments, there's creative financing, there's hard money lending. There's absolutely no shortage of money. Not because you don't know how to access it, it means that there's shortage of capital. And I want to ensure that if you have the right mentor, the right coach, the right coaches, the right support community around you, it's to move in the right direction. It's called smart investment decision. We at Pitch Deck 101, we have built out relationship with multiple financial institutions. If you go to my website, you will see some of those financial institutions that are there, some of our financial partners. There's a cost of doing business, and you need to know it. The first step is to get your cash flow projection, get your financial target, get your business plan, get the cash flow game plan. All of these things will be there. If you have the right mentor, the right coach, the right business consultants supporting you, all of these details will be there. So you don't have to speculate. about the cost of doing business. You don't have to wait until your backs are against the wall and then you're going to say, if I had known, these are the specific actions that I would have taken. You want to know beforehand, as I keep saying. In business, you want to position yourself to be the proactive leader. The proactive leader, they have three essential characteristics. The proactive leaders are the kind of people that think ahead. The proactive leaders are the kind of people that see beyond problems. The proactive leaders are the kind of people that are able to take informed action to achieve the desired results. Are you the proactive leader? If not, I want to encourage you to make contact with us. We have a team of subject matter experts that are here to work with you to help you take your business to the next level. And I want to emphasize this. You see, in business, you can be a luxury yacht. I like talking this story. Or you can be a sinking ship. Look at that ship there on the screen. One is going down, it's sinking, and the other one is smoothly floating ahead. When you have the right information, all that I've just given to you, you're able to make better business decisions. And you want to be that person, that entrepreneur who is not a sinking ship, but the entrepreneur that have the right information. So you're able to make smart investment decisions. My name is Gary Thompson. I'm a business development consultant by profession. I trust you would have enjoyed today's program. Today we look at the cost of running a business. And I'm saying to you, if you're getting into business and you don't know the cost of doing business, perhaps you have a sinking ship and you need to be smart. Make smart investment decisions. Reach out to us for a free consultation. We'll be happy to talk to you and ensure that we get you on the right path and we outfit your business with the business success ecosystem that will ensure that you succeed. Be blessed. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. Press the bell so you will be the first to get these programs on a regular basis. You will be notified every time we upload a new program, and you'll be able to sink into these information. So you'll always have these, these cutting edge information to help move your business one step further. Be blessed and see you in the next broadcast.